Well, welcome everyone to a little bit of a different video this time around. My name is Leaf, and as always, it is so great to have you guys here for a little bit of an exploration. Yes, so we have a lot of awesome new props that came with the Europe pack, and I'm still figuring out new ways to use them even to this day. And I wanted to make a little video with you guys and kind of go into like a little bit more in depth of ways that you could use them. So obviously we have a lot of awesome new props over here, and we're just going to start over here to the left. This one was taught to me by Nicholas Lionrider. It's just a really easy way to get these nice looking steps into your zoo using these, what are they called? European roof gables. These guys kind of look like this. They're more so like Dutch than anything else, but if you line them up kind of like that, it gives you a really good looking kind of staircase. But moving on through here, we also have a bit of a innovative use of the rustic stone wall floor. These guys are extremely useful, probably one of my new favorite pieces, and they just give you such a beautiful effect, especially when you turn like the, what is that, the grout green. It gives a little bit of a mossy effect, and you can even improve upon that even more. I've seen a lot of people in Bronation use this technique. It's essentially using the moss decals and throwing them on top, and it gives a little bit more of what I would like to say of an overgrown character a little bit more. But we can even improve upon that going forward by using faux rocks, especially the small faux rocks that came with the Europe pack. These guys are extremely useful for getting these beautiful 3D effects with your sidewalks. And if you guys are hoping to have this little bit of a forest area, these guys are absolutely perfect for that. If we even set it to, let's just say like this time of day, you can see all the shadows from everything really highlight the path and how bumpy it really is. So that's a really awesome thing to have. But moving on through here, this is something that I was actually inspired by a candlelit dinner by. So these guys are the European flags. I believe they're called the bunting flags, yes. And I essentially recolored them to kind of make it look like fire. Especially in zoos, you wouldn't have real fire all over the place. Instead, you would probably see something along the lines of this, with these cloth pieces colored to be kind of like fire and moving with wind right down below. So if you are hoping to have like this little bit of a campfire area, this is definitely the way to go. I used all these faux rocks right down here below, and it just really came out extremely well. I don't know, I'm just a really big fan of that, and I thought, you know, it's a pretty neat effect. I also have a smoke emitter right down below, so it gives this kind of smoky look to it. I feel like it comes out extremely well. And also, you may see the scarecrow pop up in a lot of places. That is because the scarecrow is actually to scale with humans. And if I actually raise this path up just a smidge, there we go. We can actually see that the scarecrow is in line with humans. Maybe it's a little bit shorter. Actually, no, it's actually perfect height. So that is our little bit of a Frank. We used to have an archer in Planet Coaster. What am I saying? I've never played Planet Coaster, but it's great to see that we're finally getting a human reference scale right over here as well. Now moving on through this all, we have these beautiful pieces over here. We have the European bridge arch wood panel, and we also have the European window shutter. So these both are extremely useful for making crates kind of like this. So you can kind of see I made this one into just a square crate, and I made this one into quite a bit of a bigger one, and I used the candle pieces, the candle holders, to actually make a little bit of locks on them. So if you guys are hoping to have a little bit more of, you know, kind of a camp area or, you know, a cargo area, this is the perfect route to go down. And you can see I even used a lot more of the moss decals to make sand. Yeah, so that's actually really cool to see. So if you guys are planning on making like backstage areas, these pieces are definitely going to be the way to go. You may realize that I have a little bit of Z fighting going on over here. So when you do make this, make sure to layer it by holding shift and slightly moving your pieces up or down. That way you don't get that disgusting Z fighting, and it all comes out extremely well in the end. It looks like someone just dropped a bag of sand right there, and it looks amazing. I also use the pieces from the Australian pack to kind of give like this a little bit more character. Maybe it's been through like a few places and it's kind of like covered in trash and whatnot, but it's just really fun ways to make that work. Now moving on through here, we're going to talk a little bit about roads and infrastructure. So one of the things I really want to incorporate, we're using these grunge pieces as making this kind of decrepit looking paint on the ground, and I think it comes off looking really good. So in the past, people would often use, like, I don't know, let's go for square. And if we look down here far enough, we could see that people would have used pieces like these to kind of make like that beautiful, like, freshly painted, if that makes sense, road lines. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I'm a little sick right now and it's kind of affecting my brain hole. But with that being said, if you're hoping to have a little bit more of an old school zoo, these guys are perfect for you. They look kind of like they've been through a lot, and that's exactly what I feel like works out extremely well for areas that would use kind of stuff like that, especially in like high temperature, not high temperature, but high weathered areas, kind of like where it rains a lot. You would see a lot more dissolution on these painted lines, if that makes sense. And of course, we have these lovely new pieces like the food truck stall that actually give you a good sense of scale as to how the roads would look, so definitely start to use those. We also have the patio heaters, which actually work extremely well for like those dividers between roads and pathways, and I don't know, they just look extremely well. And I also love their coloration on here. Obviously, you could change the pattern to be white and have that be all nice and clean, but if you're hoping to have a little bit more of a colorful zoo, you can have like giraffe patterns and stuff like that. I think that comes out exceptionally well. But moving on through here, I also kind of made a custom tiled road over here using the flower boxes. So obviously you can change that out for any color that you want. If you want white grout, that is the perfect way to get that. But as you can see, we just have a bunch of planters in here. And now, no, they just work extremely well for areas like this. Making custom, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Making custom pathways is one of the best ways to really bring your zoo out into a whole new level, and using these smaller pieces as to make that, it really works out incredibly well, especially with these. These pieces are the European bridge support tops, and I said in my prop review my prop review video that these guys would be exceptionally well for stuff like that. And you can see just how beautiful this is. When you make big paths like this, you can definitely see a lot of the times that, you know, when you're making paths, they need to separate them out in terms of, like, you know, the panels. So this is just pre-separated, as you guys can see, and it's just really easy to combine them all together. I like to stagger mine kind of like this, and you can kind of see like it always ends in the middle of the one on top, and I kind of have the same effect going on over here. It's just a really, really awesome practice to have. And also these pieces are new as well. I really do love using these guys for like sidewalks and curbs and stuff, but I don't know, if you guys come up with anything for those pieces, do let me know. And also, this is probably some of my favorite stuff over here. These are the stained glass pieces, like the stained windows, and they come out really good for like coloring pages and stuff like that. So if you have like a children's area, these guys are perfect when it comes to the likes of that. I also have the ceiling light cables inside this little candle holder, and they come out really good for making like crayons for these kinds of areas as well. I think it looks exceptionally swell, and if you guys start to use this, I'd be pretty damn happy. It's just a really fun way to make kid interactive areas in your zoo. This one comes to me courtesy of Carlos G. He kind of showed off a picture of this and, you know, really inspired me to recreate it. So not only is this pack good for European style zoos, but it's also good for Asian style zoos as well. So these, what are these? The neon caps? I gotta find the exact name. The European LED sign wall clamp. These guys are really, really good for those terracotta roofs, and they have this beautiful sheen on them that looks incredibly well in the sunlight. You can kind of see it start to reflect right there. But of course, you guys can recolor these as much as you want. If you want like a nice brownish terracotta, like kind of orange, that's perfect right there, and it looks amazing as well. So big shout out to Carlos G. He's an amazing creator. He's worked in a lot of zoos before, and you can find him on Bro Nation if you guys are interested. But moving on through here, this one is a little bit of a simple one. These guys are the fairy lights that I use to make kind of like I'm not sure what you would call that kind of fence. Barbed wire, yes. So if you are hoping to have a little bit of barbed wire, I know we actually do have that at Roger Williams Park Zoo. So that is just a good way to get that little bit of an industrial look to that. And if you set it to nighttime, since these are all black, they won't actually glow. So that's actually really good when it comes to, you know, full-fledged weather immersion. I don't really know. This one is probably one of my favorites. I actually took the candle holder, and I actually need to get the real name of it, European Lantern. And I put the new mulch pieces right down below in order to make this tiny terrarium, yeah. And I actually use the light bulb right there, and when you actually set it to night, it actually lights up, and it just makes me incredibly happy because this is one of the best ways that we can actually start to integrate a lot more smaller scale terrariums, and it just looks incredibly well, and it's to scale too. So this would probably be like, you know, behind the scenes or like in an indoor area with like, you know, probably some smaller lizards or with some insects. These guys are perfect for that kind of stuff. So if the actual exhibits are too big for you, these guys are perfect in order to make up for that. I also use the heaters a little bit more over here. They make really good planters, as you can see, and they actually make really good stands for the light posts as well. I don't know, it's just really innovative ways to use a piece that you don't often think too much about using. And one of the last things I have over here is the ibex climbing frame. I kind of sunk in some of the tiger rocks in here. I could actually color match that a little bit more. And it's still functional for the goats as well. So if you guys are hoping to get a little bit more of realism in your zoos, and you're not really a big fan of how well the faux rocks look, if you're trying to have a little bit more of a naturalistic kind of look, that is perfect right there. You can definitely start to integrate some stuff like that as well into your builds. But with all that being said, that is pretty much all I have for these little quick tricks. Definitely do let me know what you guys come up with in the comments down below. I always love seeing you guys. Hell, listen, even if you want to submit some blueprints to me, we could kind of go over it in a video down the line in case if you guys are coming up with stuff on your own. But with all that being said, that is pretty much all I have. We're gonna end it over here at the terrarium because I love it so much. But all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Take care, and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Bye-bye now.